The Psychology of Doing the Right Thing, Part 5. Well, I've described how things like mindfulness, farsightedness, courage, sense of oneness with humanity are important, but I want to bring in another factor, and that is quick-wittedness, social skill, being what I call a fixer, the kind of person who can get away with stuff, the kind of person who, if they feel inclined, can help you to get away with stuff. The kind of person who can turn social situations or even social problems to their advantage. And I have 3 examples here that you've already met, and I'll say something about each of them. Roel Wallenberg. A lot of what Wallenberg did was fake passports, fake Swedish institutions and so on. When it came to the crunch of getting people to escape from guards who wanted to take them away, he would produce any piece of paper and pass it off as a passport or a diplomatic document and so on. And he got away with this by infusing his actions with the sheer power of his personality. He was a good con man. Schindler was clearly socially good before the war, good at sales, good at getting around people, almost certainly a crook. There were various schemes and frauds and deviances, and certainly when it came to his dealings with the German government during the war, a fair amount of that was criminal, not just protecting Jews, but frauds of one kind or another, and he was good at that kind of thing, and he needed to be good at that kind of thing. This is what some of the people who worked for him said about him. He had various drawbacks as a personality, but underneath that all, he was against evil. And with those skills and being against evil, he could do more than someone who didn't have those skills. A couple more. Paul Rusesabagina is one of my heroes. I have enormous admiration for his courage, his ingenuity, his quick-wittedness in sheltering the people during the genocide. But I have a feeling that if I'd met him in everyday life in his role as a hotel manager before the genocide, I wouldn't have taken to him. He seems to have been good at schmoozing people, at scratching people's backs, at trading, one favour for another favour. A bit of an operator. Not my kind of person at all, and he spells that out in his book in talking about his life before the genocide. Another link to the power web of the capital, and whose favour I could count on in the future. And he needed to count on those favours. He's not entirely a popular figure, certainly in Rwanda, and people are sometimes critical of what he did and how he did it in the hotel, and claim that he benefited from it and so on. At the moment, he is a strong objector to the current regime in Rwanda, and at the moment he is in jail in Rwanda facing terrorism and anti-government charges, having been probably kidnapped and taken back to Rwanda, which is a very worrying situation, and I don't know how that's going to turn out. Quick-wittedness and social skill, along with the other characteristics, can be vitally important. I cannot imagine being able to do what Rusesabagina did. I could possibly imagine myself doing what Hugh Thompson did if I had enough courage and quick-wittedness, and I was furious enough, which I think was important in his case. If I tried to do what Rusesabagina did, I'd be dead within a day, along with the people I was trying to protect. Not many of us have the skills to do that kind of thing. But there is another possible approach. Do you know anyone who is absolutely determined to follow rules and principles, who is not very sensitive to social niceties and has complete confidence in their own judgment? Well, people like that are a real pain, aren't they? But they could be important when it comes to the crunch again. To some extent, traditional heroes are like that. Franco and Zimbardo looking back at folk tales and epics about his heroes. The hero follows a set of rules that serves as a reminder that something is wrong and he must attempt to set it right. Not many of us are resolute enough to do that. Harry Stanley knew anybody could tell you what's wrong and what's right, and it was just immoral to him, and he would not do it. Right on. I've got a couple of examples, I think, a bit like that. Andrea Magda Trocmé, the pastorate in Le Cambon, seem to have been rather firm-minded people, overbearing and strong, outspoken, highly educated and sure of themselves, and Trocmé is very little frightened of the consequences of clarity. That's pretty intimidating. Though I think there's a nice complementarity for the population as a whole. The development of how they sheltered people seems to have been quite gradual. It built up stage by stage and spread person by person, in a nice mirror image, I think, of the Milgram study, where people are seduced bit by bit into doing something evil. Here people gradually grew bit by bit into doing the right kind of thing, maybe nagged along and pushed by the Trocmés, so perhaps it was a nice symbiosis. I have another person of very definite views. Greta Thunberg explicitly says she is autistic, and that is what helped her in what she's done. I just know what is right, and I want to do what is right. It's very important, but I'm too busy with my life. This is rationalising inaction in Zimbardo's terms, not something that Thunberg is likely to do. So that's my review of cases and research and commentary, but a few things to sum it up. As Chris Maslach has pointed out, resisting is good, but it's not enough. You need to do something to stop what's going on, as these four people did. And Zimbardo has pointed out that great heroes aren't a great example, really. You and I aren't like that, almost by definition. So they like to talk about the banality of heroism, like Arendt's banality of evil, the kind of things that people can do every day. Small things, but still important things. So everyday heroes are better examples than great heroes. But maybe heroes isn't the right word. And we come back to where I started with this. People who do the right thing. The psychology of doing the right thing is what we should be thinking about. And techniques for doing the right thing is what we should be encouraging. Zimbardo is very much a situationist. He thinks that social forces govern a lot of what we do. And here he's talking about being caught up in a vector of forces that emanate from a behavioural context, which combine to affect the probability of doing harm or doing it or helping. And here's his breakdown of what he thinks are the important factors. Group pressures, group identity, diffusion of responsibility, focus on the immediate moment, appropriate social models, and commitment to an ideology. And he makes it clear that these are things which can encourage people to do evil things as much as they can encourage people to do good things. It depends what the examples are, what the pressures are, and how they go. So, what's the takeaway message? Well, people aren't always obedient to authority, in spite of what Milgram suggested. It isn't inevitable that they follow the socially prescribed path. Not everyone will stand by in the presence of evil. And there are always other things you can do. And it's important to study those who take the other path. These are people who deserve your respect. But these are also people who deserve psychology's interest and further research.